Yeah, bro. So today I was screwing around on my Facebook Marketplace, which is one of my
It's,
favorite things to be on
it's
now.
a dangerous thing to be on.
It is very dangerous, man. Like there's so many times I find myself seeing something like expensive boats, and I'm like, do I want a
Ex
boat? Do I want a John boat? Do I want a pontoon boat? But
I
no,
want a
today
fan
I
boat.
was I was out I was out roaming the marketplace, and I came across someone selling these two sim rigs. So I've been in the market for maybe upgrading my sim rig, getting rid of mine. Mine's a very, very basic sim rig for the little bit of iRacing I do here and there. And I'll say this, I came across an absolute gold mine of a find. And so I found these two sim rigs. They both had steering wheels and pedals, the whole 9 yards. Very, very well built, put together. I think they're built by Extreme Sim Racing is the brand.
Okay, I was gonna ask
And
if they were like custom built or not.
no, so they're actually like manufactured, but I don't know too much about Extreme Sim Racing is the company. But I found both of them. This family, I guess, was in the middle of getting ready to move,
Nice.
and so they were selling them. I got them like I got a steal for them, and then they gave me three extra wheels and pedals. So I have five steering wheels aside from what I have literally sitting right in front of me. I have five extra steering wheels, five extra sets of pedals, and two full sim rigs that are sitting in my living room now.
Nice.
That the wife is like, why do you have these? And I said, this is
Wait, wait, wait.
I found a good deal. Yeah. What's that, the meme that's been going around? Approved,
Oh yeah,
approved. Have you
I
seen
think
that
I know what
one?
you're talking. I can't.
So
I
I
think I've
can't think
seen
of
it
what it's
now.
from, but it was so funny. So when I messaged the lady about what
Oh
time's
wow,
it now?
that's been.
4:45. I messaged her probably about 4 hours ago, and I was like, I sat there and I was camping the hell out of my phone. I'm like, come on, text me back, text me back, text me back, please, 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 because it'd been up for like 2 hours. The listing
Yeah.
had been up for 2 hours, and I was kind of banking on her to text me back, hey, someone's on their way to come get it. I'll let you know if they don't pick it up. And I was gonna jump at every like little bit she messaged me. I was like, all right, I'm on my way. How much, making sure it's the right stuff. Because I also thought for a second, I was like, is she selling this stuff? Like, is it just the two seats? The
Yeah.
frames are staying there, and is it like wheels and pedals? Because if so, I'm like, I don't really want seats and pedals. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. And then she messaged me back. She said, no, it's everything. Like, we don't need it. We're moving. And I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. She's like, well, someone said they would be here at 5 p.m. with $500. And I'm like, I'll be there in 45 minutes with $500. I was like, I'm on the way. What's the address? She didn't give me her address. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is a scam. This is not real. She's gonna end up like walking outside with a gun,
Yeah.
pointing
And
at
then
me
you're
and like,
dead.
drop the cash. And I was gonna have to leave with no money, no sim
Before
rigs,
you shoot
nothing.
me, there's no sim
So
rigs, right?
yeah. So I was just
If
like
you shoot me, I can at least have my wife come pick him up.
I was thinking of everything. So I sent my wife the address. And the other thing that made it kind of sus was the lady didn't send me the house number. She sent me just the street address. I'm like, I really want these sim rigs, so I'm gonna go try to get them. And I sent my wife the address of where I was going just so she knew.
Yeah.
Um, and
Before you
I ended
become a
up being
skin lamp.
I was trying to I became a salesman real quick. I said, okay, cool. I'm driving a dark gray Ram truck. I was like, my name is Blake. And then a little while later, I was like, I'm gonna send her my phone number so if she wants to handle how to get in contact with me, she can. So this is my phone number. Here you go. She immediately sends me her number back, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to get real because if a scammer was trying to scam me, they're not going to give me their phone number. And she says, my name is Alicia. My husband's name is Jamal. We'll be here. I'm like, all right. Send her a picture of like the Apple Maps of like, I'll get there at 2:26 was the estimated time of arrival. I get there. They're sitting in their living room. Like they already have things packed up. And I'm like, to myself, I'm like, holy crap. It was probably $200 to $2,500 worth of stuff. I walked away with for $500. And I
Mm.
was like, "Oh my gosh!" Put him in the back of the truck. The next hurdle was, will these fit in the back of my truck with my toolbox? So on the way there, I'm like, "How long are these things? Like, can I adjust them? Do I have to take them apart somehow? Like some pieces might need to come apart." They have the PC tray that mounts on the back side of the monitor. I was like, "Do I need to take that down?" So I'm sitting here playing all these things through my head. I'm like, "Do I need to take apart my toolbox, like the support pieces that hold it and lock it into place? I need to like take it down and turn it sideways."
Hmm.
I was like, I have to figure out a way to make this work. I was like, I don't care how I make it work. I'm gonna make it work to get them home.
There you go.
And so, long story short, man, drove down there. The people were really kind. I got the rigs, got all the extra steering wheels and pedals. There's like they're sitting in my truck still. I haven't had enough time to even go out there and pull them out. Um, but I could not believe it. I sent it to a handful of people on Snapchat, texted it to a few people. I'm like, look what I'm about to go pick up. I said, I might die, but I'm gonna go try to pick these things up. And so it ended up working out. They sold them to me and I paid them. And I went on about my day, but I came home and had to have Gaddy come down and help move them out of the truck because they're probably 100 pounds each.
Yeah.
They're not light, but they're not too heavy. But I was blown away at I got these two things at a steal of a deal, and now I have these two sim rigs sitting in my house.
Yeah, we had a Facebook marketplace find when we bought our Peloton. Well, we have like one that's probably like a grand, maybe even a little bit more when it's brand new. But like it was lightly used. The people, I think it was kind of like a Christmas, New Year's like resolution gift
Okay.
and to someone, and then they just realized they were never going to use it. It was literally sitting outside, like when we went and picked it up. It's
Like
like it's a
almost getting tossed out, right? Like
I think they were just not even using it. And so
someone was just
yeah,
over
like
it.
it's a Peloton with like a full on like
It's got the
screen.
screen.
Yeah. And like I can watch Disney, Netflix, something, whatever on there. And but we got it for like $200. It felt like a steal. But I got there and I was like, oh no, I don't know how this takes apart. And all I have is a Chevy Equinox or a Honda Civic. So we obviously took the Equinox and I was like, we're gonna go for it. But I don't know if this is
Yeah,
gonna
we'll figure
fit.
this out.
I brought my tools with me, my Black and Decker tools, because I live in an apartment. I don't need a big thing. But yeah, it fit. But like you said, it's also like 100 pounds, and me and my wife are over there kind of struggling. I was like, we still have to go up, to the second story to our apartment to get this in
Oh
there.
God. Yeah. Yes.
That's the way apartment living goes. Like this desk I sit at is like real everything. It's not IKEA, it's an antique, and it's honestly probably 150 pounds. And so
Oh,
getting that up the steps, and also it's not just one flight of steps,
is it
it's a
the
bit like a weird spiral.
180?
Yeah. It's like 3 steps, 10 steps, 5 steps. And
Gotcha.
so it's weird and yeah, it's not a convenient thing to get up here. And when we talk about moving, I'm like, what do we mind like
Just leave him
breaking?
behind.
Yeah. Like what do
Just let
we
us stay
actually
here.
want? Like I've already
Yeah.
picked out the furniture we're gonna take and then the furniture that I would not hesitate to throw out a window.
Yeah. Nice. Good call.
But let's get into it. We got a full weekend to talk about,
Let's
but
do it, man. Episode 13 for 10 away.
yep. Anyway. All right. So, truck race went to Lime Rock up in what, Connecticut?
Yeah, I believe it was
Yeah.
in Connecticut. I wasn't
So,
there.
yeah, I wasn't there. You weren't there. I wasn't there. I wasn't able to watch it. And like Saturday, I had a Saturday and Sunday, I had busy days, and so I wasn't able to sit down and watch either of the race. I actually caught the tail end of the truck race, but I wasn't able to like sit down and watch any of the races. Although I did record the Cup race, so I did watch that. Uh, but just not live. Before we get into the truck race, the winner was Corey Heim, but my scheme shout outs for what I saw was the one in the 44. So
Okay.
yeah, that's all I really had for the
I
sh
won't get too much into the truck race. I don't know. I know where the fans sit with watching it, and I know where I sit with watching it, and especially with it being non-competitive pit stops. I think that's as far as it should go if they were to go back.
Yeah.
Um, the best way I could put it would be it felt like watching the F1 race at Monaco. It was one lane, it was hard to pass, and the 11 had the best truck by far. So shout out to my 34 guys. They brought a great truck. Lane drove awesome, except for the last restart. He just overdrove the corner,
Yeah,
finished
saw that.
13th. But I mean, everybody knew that Lane was the second best truck, Corey was the best truck, and third was kind of up for grabs for everybody else. So
Yeah. Yeah, I watched like the last like 20 laps or something like that. And just by the commentators, I just heard Corey Heim dominant all day, stuff like that. And I didn't see many highlights for it afterwards. I mean, I did obviously watch like the last restart, which had a couple cars going off or a couple trucks going off. And I saw a lot of people went off and everything. But overall, yeah, it just kind of seemed like what you said of just not a great like road course for,
it's not a really good racing product. And I'll be
yeah,
honest, I ran it in iRacing. I ran a different variation of the track. It had a chicane, and
yeah,
it didn't have the back. like 90-degree corner that goes up the hill. I didn't run that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was the variation they were running. But running it in iRacing, that truck did not feel like it was supposed to be on that track. It was very much, it was too big for it.
It is a narrow
It,
track, yeah.
you run second and third gear for a lot of the track. It's a very unnatural feeling because you have a lot of RPMs. The
Yeah.
rear end wants to take off on you a lot. It was odd, and I texted Lane about it. I'm like, hey, like, how did you feel about it? Did you feel the same way I felt? Just the 4 or 5 laps I ran on iRacing, and he was like, yeah, it was really odd. Like, you don't really get out of third except for the front stretch. You get to fourth,
Hmm.
and then you're back in this for third and second everywhere else. So
Yeah.
very strange track. I don't know if NASCAR will go back. I'm not obviously in control of that. I don't know if you can really make a change to fix the racing product too. That's kind of the one big thing I kind of try to think on. I'm like, is there anything they can do to make it better?
Well,
But
I was
I don't know.
wondering when you kind of said that, how often does NASCAR go back, or does NASCAR only do like a one-off at a track, I should say? Because it's one of those things where they go to Lime Rock, a lot of the drivers get the feel of it now, the teams get a feel of it now. So then the second year, they may just milk it to the point of like, okay, you have one more year to try this, and if it doesn't work, it's truly not working. And I don't mind that strategy for that idea of like, okay, Corey Heim figured it out. He just naturally always has a really good truck, and it really worked out here. But also now it's kind of like with the SVG as well, where it's like now everyone's starting to like catch up and kind of get their own data and be able to look back at it and see what we can improve on or they can improve on. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they go back next year. I don't think there'll be a lot of hype around it. Uh,
Yeah, I don't know if it would sell very well after this year. That would be the one real big factor that would be stacked up against Lime Rock is it didn't put on a great show. Like
yeah,
if you went to the comments of any of the stuff about the truck race, it was pretty much unanimous across the board. People were like, that was not great. Like
yeah,
one lane racing, you really couldn't pass unless you went into turn one. That was really the only place that I saw people be able to pass. I'm not trying to be negative about it. It's just you got to be real when, you're talking about things and
yeah,
that you witness, and that was everybody was kind of unanimous in that decision.
yeah.
So it was like Milwaukee. I don't know why they took Milwaukee off the schedule, but we did Milwaukee 2 years in a row, and then we took it back off. So who knows? Maybe Lime Rock gets one more shot. And like
Yeah.
I said, maybe there's something they can figure out. But I honestly thought there was going to be more wrecks in the truck race. So
Well, I mean, I
there
kind of
really wasn't that many incidents. So that was pretty surprising.
well, the trucks took a break from Wreckfest and they gave it to the Cup series. So,
No kidding, man.
but
No kidding.
I don't really think there's much else to talk about with the truck race. I mean, we kind of said it, so we'll just kind of run through the top 10 real quick because I mean, it is a pretty shuffled top 10 for what we normally see in some sense. I mean, Josh Bilicki finishing seventh and then Cam Waters finishing fifth. So that's pretty cool. Ben Rhodes, he kind of made a charge at the end from what I saw and was able to gather, but Brent Cruz also getting eighth. So yeah, a bit of a shuffle field. Like you mentioned though, Lane Riggs was there at the end, but just went to the corner a bit hot, and ultimately comes back like 12th or 13th, I think you said. So, but getting into the Xfinity race, another race, I watched all the highlights for it, but just couldn't really watch it live. Real quick, scheme shoutouts, I guess. The two looked pretty good, and so did the 10
Two,
and the
the
91.
two, oh, was the two like a,
It was blue. I don't know what the sponsor was.
I can't remember what it was either. I've seen it before.
But it was a good looking car. I knew that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not the first time they've run it. That's kind of one of the things I'm coming up on with like these scheme shoutouts. I'm like, there are some cars that like William Byron this weekend, for example, he ran the Flames car, and I was like, oh, I don't think I've put this one in. Has it been run since we started doing the podcast? And I can't remember. So I was like, I want to kind of put in the scheme shoutouts. But I was like, I couldn't remember. But that was kind of the same with the two. The 10 looked pretty good. It kind of had a classic scheme feel, and the 91 just I thought it worked pretty well. Uh, but yeah, Nick Sanchez comes home with a win, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So Jarius Moorhead, who'll be on our Pop and Top episode later today, he is on the 48 crew.
Oh,
So
okay.
congrats to him. We'll get to ask him about that later tonight when we do the Pop and Top episode. And it was pretty interesting because I saw that they spun out.
Yeah.
I forget who. I think they got hooked in the left rear, spun out. So I honestly kind of wrote off
Well,
the
they had a good,
48.
yeah, I was, when I saw the spin, I was like, that's normally something you'd write off because you went through the infield. and
Yeah,
you'd think that splitter.
you tear up the splitter and fenders and
Yeah, and so like the way he went, and they were even talking about it on the broadcast of like, oh, it didn't. He kind of hit it at a good angle where it didn't just like plow into it. It kind of just scraped along with it,
yeah,
kind of in
he
it
just mowed
like
the grass, no biggie.
essentially. But yeah, it was cool to see him when I saw the results before I saw the highlights. So I was like, oh,
Mm,
and so when I was watching the highlights and I see he spun, I was like, oh, what a race for this guy.
right.
But y'all got 10th, which was really cool. But y'all also spun out at one point.
Yeah, we had a restart, and I think it was in turn three and four, if I'm not mistaken, or one and two. I
I
can't
think it
remember,
was one
but
and two.
we got on a restart. We were on the inside line, and I think someone was bump drafting him and pushing Jeremy, and he got turned. But we just bounced back. But we did so many adjustments from the beginning of the race to the end. Like by the third stop, we were able to run a normal stop, but we pitted, I think, a total of three or four times. One of them we didn't even take tires. We just made an adjustment. So really cool paint scheme that the 51 ran too. I really liked it for the Flying Forum guys that were on the car for the 51. It was
Oh,
a pretty sweet like black patriotic car with gold
yeah.
numbers. Pretty sick. So good job to Jeremy driving. Good job to Case, on top of the box and Gabe and Dave and everybody else on the 51. Solid weekend for us, especially after Mexico was a really bad weekend. Pocono, we came back and finished 11th or 12th, and then 10th in Atlanta. So we've had a couple good weeks after a really crappy Mexico race.
Yeah, and I put on here Austin Hill's streak was broken.
Yeah, he won like four in a row, right?
Yeah, he was on like a 4 in a row streak, and then he just didn't even wreck, just had a car issue.
I
I
think
can't.
it was what was it, a spark plug, something with a spark plug that went bad. So he
Mm,
lost like six laps on pit
yeah.
road having that fixed. I think the Ilmore engine guys, not Ilmore, the engine tuner guys had to go down there and replace a spark plug wire or something like that.
Mm. Yeah, it was weird because he was out front when it happened, and it almost caused a huge wreck because he just kept losing
He was
power or
losing
whatever.
power. It was basically
Yeah,
shutting down.
but honestly, again, racing at Atlanta is just a fun track right now, and
Dude, I
we'll
think it
definitely talk
is
about it
really
more at the
good.
Cup race because I have a lot more notes for the Cup race. But as for the Xfinity race, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to comment on it.
No, I think that it just kind of is it's the running saying now. Atlanta's cool. Atlanta's fun to watch now.
Atlanta's good right now.
The repave that they've what is it the third year now of the repave? Maybe it was 2022 when they repaved it. It's exciting. I think that it's cool. I don't like seeing it this way, but I think it'll make the most sense. It's almost like lightning in a bottle. You get a mile and a half track, but you get the Daytona Talladega
Yeah.
racing of it. So it's tight because even I ran on iRacing 2 nights ago, and dude, it's fun. It's
So
really fun. I mean it's intense. Like Daytona Talladega when you're racing, iRacing, you have more room. This one it's like you're death grip on the steering wheel. Like you're watching everything because you don't have as much room, and it's tight. But
yeah.
it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So kudos to the drivers because it's hard, man. I think there's a lot of skill in running those races and not wrecking.
Well, that one kind of checks off almost every box you can have for a race in the way of the visuals are like I've had people watch it with me that don't really watch NASCAR and they're like, "Whoa, like this one, how are they all staying in line?" Because yeah, like you said, Daytona and Talladega, there is more room. It just looks bigger. They still kind of have that reaction of like, how are they not hitting each other? But Atlanta, you're like, "Oh wow, you
Yeah.
shortened it up a lot more." Um, and yeah, then you still have, especially with the cup race, just able to make a charge and make a pass and all this that you don't really see at Talladega or Daytona right now, which can be a conversation for later. Let's just wrap up the Xfinity race real quick. As we said, Nick Sanchez, he had a good race and finished first. Great for him, first Xfinity win, I believe. And
hmm
yeah, that's not the first big machine racing win, right? I think
I
Parker had
think
won with them once.
I don't remember. I know Parker almost won the Roval last year, but they threw
Yeah.
the caution like a foot in front of the
Yeah.
finish line and he didn't get the win.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember. That might be the big machine
Either way, good on him. Great
first
race
win.
for
Yeah.
him. The only other one I do want to shout out Jesse Love. He got involved in a wreck early, had some nose damage, still came back to finish sixth. I don't think he had the power to maintain first. I think once he
hmm
got out there, his arrow was a bit messed up. But and then yeah, Kyle Sieg, Daniel Dye, and Jeremy Clements, 8, 9, and 10. So
Yeah.
great on y'all. And then let's get into the Cup race because this is where I have the most notes for the weekend. And honestly, just a fun race. Even like
Yeah.
my wife was out of town this weekend, but I was still talking to her and she was watching the race by herself. Because she was like, yeah, I wasn't going to. Then I would like looked up to see who won because she thought it was over and she just saw Chase was in the lead. So she like scattered. She was like, what's the direct TV login information? And so I like sent it to her and I was on the phone with her and she like again she's a big Chase Elliott fan. I've said this before, but she was like freaking out on the phone. She was watching like the last 60 laps and she was like, I've never seen a race like this before. This was so fun. Oh my gosh. And then
Yeah, it's a thrill, man. I think that Atlanta's done a really good job that they were able to reinvent the track and what it originally was because it was known for a track that was you slid around a lot, you ate up tires.
yeah.
It was kind of like racing at Darlington, but with a tri-oval, and on the front stretch. But they really reinvented the way the racing is, the feel, and I think every time I've gone back, I've grown to like it more and more. Like it was cool the first time, you're like, this is pretty sweet, but then like the more time you put in getting to see the racing product, it's just like, man,
Yeah.
this is really awesome.
And
It
I'm
grew, it went from being like a fifth to 10th place track on my list to watch, and if I had to pick, it'd be like top five easily now.
oh,
So
it's
it grew a
like
lot.
top two for me now.
Yeah,
I don't even know the
it's
other
a
competitor.
blast.
I think this and like Kansas are ones I like really look forward to, and Darlington on the schedule where it's like when
Yeah,
that's coming up, I'm
yeah.
like this
Daytona,
week,
Talladega, Atlanta, Kansas, Darlington are up there.
yeah.
Bristol's hit and miss. Some years it's really good. Some years it's kind of dry.
Right now they're just trying to figure out the short package, but yeah, no, this I was this being a Saturday night race, I was like, oh, this would be fun. I was gonna have friends over, and then I forgot I had to go to like a premiere for a comedy sketch I was in, and I was like, I wasn't planning on going, and then I got like personally texted by a couple of the people, so I was like, I should probably go. And then
Yeah,
I was like, I don't normally have these, so I was like, I should go for the experience. So I went, but then yeah, it's like watching the race, I was like, I kind of wish I would have watched this live. This seemed pretty cool. But I did get to skip through the red flags, which is always nice. But let me get the scheme shout outs out of the way because I did like the 45. I saw some hate for it when it when they debuted the scheme online. People were like, that looks dumb because it was that card uh sponsor.
oh, the tops upper deck,
Yeah,
is
Upper
that
Deck.
the
Yeah. And but it was also a crossover with the Superman movie coming out. But
okay?
overall, just good looking car in my opinion. So was the 99 and then also the 11. Two of those got caught up in the big wreck.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's actually just talk about the huge wreck in stage two because
Was
there's a
it
huge
lap?
wreck at the end of stage one, which was not a huge wreck, I should say, but like it took out Bell, it took out Blaney,
Yeah.
almost took out Larson. This is not me
I
just being
saw I
a
saw
Larson
that.
fan.
I didn't get to see the very beginning of the race. I think I was out doing some stuff with the family.
Yeah,
So I only got to watch like about the last 100 laps. So by then I'd already seen there was one massive wreck and then there was another decent sized wreck. But
yeah,
Tyler Mon, shout out to him for taking care of Kyle
man,
when even Bleacher Report gave him a shout. They're like, Kyle Spotter was on it for these
yeah,
like 10 seconds.
yeah.
So good on Kyle also for saving the car. And then Tyler just guided him through it. That was insane. So I got to see the highlight of that. But
We need to get Tyler Mon on here. It'd be fun
I'll
to talk.
I'll text him in a few minutes. But like, you're on Pop and Top next week, man. Batter up.
Yeah, no choice.
Yeah, no, you're coming. So,
Cancel that
but I was
vacation we
actually
planned to
talking to him
take.
earlier. He wants to buy one of the extra sim rigs. So
Oh, there we go.
who knows? But now we'll get him on next week or something.
But yeah, like that was I when I saw it happening, I was like, oh, dang it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh no. And I was like, oh dang it. Oh, yes, yes, keep going. Yeah.
Don't hit him. Don't hit him. Oh, you're good. You're good.
It
Woo.
was literally like a very slow version of Lightning McQueen dodging cars to get out of there.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
But yeah, then we talk about the huge wreck at the beginning of stage two, and yeah, he got pancaked in it a bit. Like he took enough damage to where his car didn't have the speed. Like I would watch him in the back of the pack, and like he would sit around. He would like get out of the pits at like 10th, but he would fall back to 15th within a couple laps. I just think his handling wasn't there. The speed wasn't there to keep up and stuff. So he was kind of a straggler, but stayed on the lead lap pretty much the whole time. But it was kind of frustrating because my wife had told me Chase Elliott won. I could just tell by her reaction. But I still watched the race with the because I filled out a bracket for this in-season tournament, and I was like, where did Tyler Reddick finish? Did Larson beat him? And so watching that the whole time, I was like, or Reddit's just gonna spin at one point, right? Like he's just gonna wreck too. Like he's got to wreck at some point, and then he never wrecked. I was like, well, there goes my bracket. Like I had
Yeah, that
Larson.
bracket was busted fast for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and I had filled out my bracket very honestly, and I in my head I was like, if Larson gets past Atlanta, I had him winning because it just lined us up pretty well for him. Um, but yeah, Reddick had a good race though. For the most part. Where did he? Oh, he ended up finishing fourth. But yeah, that huge wreck was something to watch. Watching
Yeah, it
it
was.
just unfold, you're like, oh wow, oh that sucks for a lot
Yeah.
of people. It sucked for Team Penske. I'm pretty sure it took out all of their cars.
Yeah, it did. I saw that they all finished like 36, 38, and 40th or something.
Yeah, and then that caused a big red flag, and so it's weird. That felt like a whole other race because after that, just I think I saw a stat, or they said a stat at one point. After that wreck, for a moment, there was only two cars on the track, and then it became two cars on the lead lap that had won a race this year. There was only two cars left,
Wow.
SVG and Larson.
Wow.
And so I want to say by the end of the race, there are only two cars finished that had won a race previously this season.
That makes sense, man. It was a massive wreck. When I saw it, I was like, good Lord, that's a wreck you see at Talladega.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. Like in a way, it was like cool, and I'm kind of happy that we're not like complaining about it in a way as like a fan base because it was like that was wow crazy. And then I think it just helped that the racing after it was very very good. Because it's still like we said, like we just saw like no car was straight up dominant. Elliott and Reddick were always up there, and so was Keselowski at the end. But like everyone was just taking turns. Stenhouse took a turn at the front. Zane Smith was taking his time at the front, and like. I don't know. Like everyone was just able to get up there and maintain. And man, I saw Brad Keselowski after the race. I don't know if he was maybe just a little too salty about the ending, but he was like the pushes or people get too big of runs. And I was like, I'm not gonna go there with you, Brad. I can't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think because it lacks so much at Daytona and Talladega right now, it's like I'm gonna take these runs that people can hold their own for. Because that was the thing, like some people would go down low and they'd be in the low lane and they'd be by themselves, but they would still be holding on. They wouldn't be dropping like a rock, which was
Yeah.
really nice to see. And so, yeah, man. But I want to kind of talk about Chase Elliott because I don't know if you felt this way about him. That was like the first race in a while where I've seen shades of old Chase Elliott.
I agree.
He
The
was
last
like,
100 laps, he was leading a lot. I think it was like 7 or 8 to go. He was in like seventh place. And I wouldn't say I was necessarily rooting for him, but um, with like 10, 15, 20 to go whenever he was in the lead, I'm like, man, Chase might pull out a win here tonight. It'd be cool for him. It's Atlanta, it's his home track, and he's just been leading. Like, it'd be cool to see him win. And then, like I said, I saw he was in seventh with maybe it was 6 to go, 7 to
yeah,
go. And I was like, I feel like
he
that's gonna
made
be
a
really hard.
charge.
I was like, I think it's gonna be kind of hard to make that up because Atlanta is just it's tighter, like we talked about a
Yeah.
little bit ago. I was like, yeah, I feel like that one's hard. I think you have to be third or fourth to really have an open shot to win it. But he made some moves, man, and like that move on Brad to get to the lead with the 48's help, that was cool. I was like,
Yeah.
man, that was a power move. So
But he was just doing that. I felt like all day was just making some pretty aggressive moves. And I don't really view Chase as an aggressive driver necessarily. Not in the way
mm,
like Larson will throw a big block. I don't think Elliott
right,
throws those big blocks. Um, but Elliott was just he was going for it. And I felt like he wanted it for the first time in a while. Like there are a lot of the races we watch him in now, it just feels like he's like, okay, I'm a sixth place car. I'm gonna go for fourth. And that's really it. Like I just don't see him
I think that
chase.
a lot of guys have to do that though.
They
How
do.
crucial it is to get your points and then to salvage the day. Like you don't want to hurt your chances where the only way you're going to make the playoffs is if you win.
I think
Because I think that the way that the racing is now, it's harder to pass in ways and Pit stops are so crucial now too. Like before, I feel like you had a little bit of clearance leeway and when you ran a pit stop. Like we've talked about this before when it comes to running pit stops. Back in the old days when it was five lug for the Cup Series, if you lost two tenths, you didn't really lose the spot. If you lose two tenths now, that's two spots.
Yeah.
It's just so pressure packed now. So I mean, the odds are always against you when it comes to running pit stops, being on the track, track position. And I think that there are teams that when you realize you don't have the car to win, you don't try to push, but at the same time, like you're gonna try to get everything you can out of that race car. So
Yeah.
um, I agree that I felt like he knew he had a really good car and he's like I gotta try to maximize this. But I also wouldn't say that any driver's ever gonna back off from trying to finish P1, going from
Yeah.
sixth to first. But I think sometimes it's just the way that the race shakes out.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was so weird to like not so weird, but it was very encouraging to watch Elliott get aggressive again. And I just feel like I haven't seen that in so long, and him having like a confidence in his car that I feel like he hasn't had in a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
I can see that.
yeah, but I also kind of made this note because I did feel this way at one point. I felt like I was like Atlanta has kind of filled this void that I think I we just have a special connection to Daytona on the 4th of July. That's kind of a race we grew up going to.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean, we
not
grew up an
that
hour and a
anymore.
half from Daytona, so that was the
Yeah.
track we always went to.
But this Atlanta race, for some reason to me, I think maybe just being a Saturday night race, just kind of for me at least filled that gap a little bit that I was like, I kind of missed that race and like there's some cool
I wish we
schemes.
had more Saturday night races. I really do.
Yeah, I
I've
don't know why
missed
we don't.
I think it's got a lot to do with TV time slots from what I've kind of grown to understand.
Another argument for streaming.
Yeah,
Uh,
Prime did great and
well, I
I
will say
I
on
hope
the
that maybe the next year or two we start to see more Saturday night races come back. I also think it's a huge thing during the summer. We should have more Saturday night races for the sole fact for road crew guys and pit crew guys. It is grueling to be out there in those fire
yeah.
suits in the heat, especially Atlanta. It lucked out. The was a part of it. It was not too bad. It was like high 70s. So it really wasn't bad to be in those fire suits, but I mean daytime it's a monster.
Well, you did talk about Prime, and this being TNT's first race back at I don't know how many years. Um, I didn't like their promotion leading up to it. I don't like where they put the drivers. This is me just being picky, but I just think Prime did a great job at like their media days, like how they put what the not the situations, but the atmosphere they put the drivers in. Whereas like TNT was like clearly green screen, just didn't look good. Looks very like cloudy and hazy in my opinion. I just don't like it. But on the other side of that, I really was enjoying their camera angles at Atlanta. I just noticed a big difference and they were a lot wider most of the time. It just felt faster. I think they really did a good job at capturing Atlanta in a very different way. Um, they had some, again, like I said, just really good angles and really great on their end of that. Also, it was nice. I didn't know, I kind of forgot that Latard, Earnhardt, and Alexander was coming back still and doing TNT's coverage. So it's nice to hear their voices again, especially Dale. Dale getting
He's so
giddy
enthusiastic.
in Atlanta was fantastic. I loved it, and yeah, he really adds to it. He's honestly my favorite commentator right now, just because when the racing's there, he's passionate, and you just
Yeah.
some people keep a professionalism. I feel like Dale's professionalism kind of naturally drops because he'll just he'll just react to the race,
Yeah, I
and
absolutely agree. The little bit I've gotten to hear, I think the same way. It's fun hearing someone that's got so much joy and passion to
mhm.
watch the race and how it plays out.
Yeah,
Um, with also good car insight. I mean, he didn't really get to race much of the next gen car. I think he's raced it at Bowman Gray for a test, but
yeah,
um, I think it's just really cool to see someone that's been in the sport for so long, that's a natural race car driver, and he has so much passion for it because you can get Larry Mack, Steve Letarte, but they're a crew chief. They have crew chief
hmm
perspectives. But to see him in there that has just so much joy, and he talks about how things happen and unfold on the track. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and also he's just a NASCAR fan. I mean, yes, the other two in there are, but like I said, like there's a maintaining a professional like composure that I just feel like Dale just kind of sheds whenever the racing gets whenever the racing gets really good. And so it's just so refreshing to hear. Um, yeah, it's just fun. But we'll just go ahead and close out the Cup race. Chase Elliott being a winner, I just want to shout that out again. That's really cool. Brad Keselowski gets a very close second. Kind of felt bad for him. Also, I picked him, but I kind of felt bad for him because he doesn't always have a
I
winning
don't even
car.
remember who I picked. Who was my pick last week?
I'm gonna say Joey Logano. I don't know.
I do not remember.
I can't remember. Oh no, you picked Gregson. That's what it was. You said Gregson would
Oh
have a
yeah, yeah,
wild
yeah.
card.
I did.
Yeah, that didn't work out. But
No.
yeah, so Keselowski felt bad for him because he's not always up front or even have a winning car, and he had that this weekend. And yeah, you could kind of tell it kind of bit him a little bit.
He was a little bummed.
He was a little bummed after, but I'll be honest, I kind of enjoyed Elliott winning more than him because Elliott in where he stands in the points, even without a win, is a bit more deserving. Whereas I think Keselowski, there probably would have been some groaning about, this win in your end. I haven't heard it as much as I thought it would with SVG winning. I think everyone just expected SVG to win a road course race. But yeah, someone like Keselowski, how far back he is in points, I don't think a win would help him. But like as for fan reaction, I think it would be like, okay, seems a bit like a wasted spot. Um, so glad to see Elliott get in there. And then the only other ones I really want to shout out, Eric Jones bringing Legacy back into the top five again. I mean, that's like 4 races in a row or 3 races in a row at least that a Legacy car has been in like the top six. So good on them. Ricky Stenhouse sixth, Zane Smith seventh, Ty Dillon eighth. The Ty Dillon beating Denny Hamlin. Nobody had that in their
No.
brackets.
That was crazy.
And Carson Hocevar bounces back from being involved in the big wreck to finish 10th. So good on him. And I do see the name in 11th. Connor Zilic survived the day for an 11th place finish. So good on him as well. That's what we should name those segments. Good on him.
Yeah, good on him.
I think I say that so much. So getting into the last bits of the podcast, but my question for this week would be, would you want to see another track that exists? I should preference that, such as like Texas, get the Atlanta treatment.
Ooh.
It's a hard to say yes because it's like I don't want them to go crazy with it, but at the same time,
I I'm trying to think about Texas. So you'd have to change some of the banking, I believe, because that's what they did to Atlanta.
yeah, those
They
turns are
made it.
wider, I think, too.
I don't know if they're wider. I know there's more degree. It's a steeper banking. Um, I mean, shoot, dude, I'm not against it. I'll
It
say
depends on
that.
the track. If they were like, we're going to do this to Kansas, no.
Yeah,
But
I'd say leave
Texas,
Kansas alone.
yeah.
Texas, I think you could probably do. Um, yeah, I'm not against it. I think it'd be cool.
What's
I
also
really
someone I think talked about doing it to Kentucky and at Chicagoland, which I think Chicagoland's coming back, or most
maybe.
definitely is coming back. I think it's pretty much been confirmed. Like Dale, I think spilled it a bit. I think Hocevar spilled it, and then people have been like tracking Chicagoland's like putting up a couple jobs for racing events or whatever, and then they also
Yeah.
made like new merch. So it just seems like they're gearing back up. But yeah, anyway, somebody said Kentucky and
I could
just
see Kentucky being cool. I actually really want to go back to Kentucky.
well, Kentucky needs to update their facilities for one. I saw the videos of the traffic that happened there when it like came back or whatever. Like it was awful. But my biggest thing is this new car, I feel like would do well at Kentucky. So it's like I don't really want to see them give Kentucky the Atlanta treatment because I want
I
to
think you'd
see.
have to at least go run the race once or twice
Yeah,
at Kentucky before you did that. I'm trying to think of other tracks you could do this to. To be honest, like Texas is kind of the only one I'm thinking of, maybe Vegas.
yeah.
But I think Vegas puts on a pretty good show.
That's the thing. Any mile and a half messing with it is touchy because the mile and a halves are the highlights of this car. So Texas is the only one that really like people I feel like have an issue with where it gets strung out. It's hard to pass the leader. There's that huge bump in 3 and 4 or whatever. So I would be fine with Texas. You probably won't hear me complaining. I would just more say like, don't go crazy turning all these tracks into Atlanta because Atlanta's like we said, lightning in a bottle. I also was thinking this earlier. Atlanta's already in a phase of aging significantly. So I'm enjoying Atlanta for when while we have it, but I'm also like it's aging. I don't know what it's gonna do later. But that's the same with Texas. We were talking about it earlier. Like it's at a point where it's in this aging process where it might just be getting better and better every year. So it's a weird balance. I mainly just want them to think through it and not be like, hey, does this bottle have some lightning in it? Let's see. And then we
Right.
just ruin a track for no reason. So
Yeah, well,
uh
I don't know if you can really go wrong with doing the super speedway package on it, but
yeah.
I don't want to overkill it to where we're going to Atlanta twice, Texas twice, Daytona, Talladega, and then
Yeah.
all these teams are running out of cars because they get wrecked.
Yeah,
So
that is true. More big or more tracks with that package would definitely there'd just be some pretty small wrecks here and there. Wouldn't take out half the field. Gosh. What's also crazy is how tough this car is. When you watch that wreck, it's like there's a lot of cars, but there's only like three cars with heavy looking damage.
yeah, I was gonna say I noticed that too, but it seemed like it was a very slow. It wasn't slow, but it wasn't a wreck where there was a lot of hard contact. It was just like a net. It was like a collective net that's just
Yeah.
grabbed everybody, slowly hit cars, but it was enough to put them in the garage for a little while.
Yeah.
They had to work on stuff, so they were laps down. It did
Well,
not look like the normal Daytona Talladega, like high speed. When they wreck, they
yeah.
start like tearing shit up really, really fast.
Well, that's I think where I was thinking. It was like for one, it's like the people that were in front got the worst of it. It was kind of the people that came in later that were already slowing down, but also like the top speed, there's like what, 180-ish or so. I know it's not
I don't know
huge.
off the top of
I
my
think they
head.
were talking about it in the race. I would need to go
It's
back
not
and
as
look.
fast as Daytona and
Yeah.
Talladega. It's a little bit slower.
Daytona and Talladega, I feel like it would have been a lot worse, but also the brakes on these new cars, they really do help with these wrecks being able to slow down faster and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, coming up though, we have Chicago Street Race. You're going back, right?
Yep. We're going up there Saturday.
It's just Xfinity and Cup this weekend.
It is.
I know in
We got,
Xfinity we have Cam Waters coming in along with
I think we have 3 weeks off before the next truck race. So the next
yeah.
truck race is IRP in St. Louis, or not St. Louis, in Indianapolis.
Okay, nice. Uh, but who do you have for the? Well, let's go through the predictions for Chicago.
Mm, okay. I'm gonna say for Chicago, I'm gonna go with.
I
All right, so
don't think.
last year the 48 won. I don't know if there's supposed to be rain or not. That might be enough.
I mean,
I'm gonna go the
probably.
45. So the 45 almost ran down the 48 last year, and
So
I
this is
think
your
Tyler.
Cup.
The cut prediction will be the 45 with Reddick. And if I do Xfinity, do we
Below
know
the
who?
51. Um,
Yeah, let's go. 51's gonna win. Who's gonna finish second?
yeah. That's the
I'll
thing.
go Zilich. Is Zilich in the 88 this weekend?
Oh yeah, I think he's full time.
I don't know if he's full time. I can't remember if he's full time.
Oh no, SVG is in this by the way because he's running the
Is he?
nine.
Okay.
So, which is kind of cool. I might just go ahead and do a scheme shout out for Red Bull because they got Zilich and
Do they have
SVG,
both have
but
Red Bull cars?
they both have Red Bull cars, but they're like inverted from each other, if that's
Okay.
a way to say it. Like one's like a white base with the blue, and
The
then the
other's
other one's
blue with a white
blue.
base.
Yeah, look it up.
Gotcha.
It's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, you do have SVG and you do have Zilich, which is I'm looking forward to that showdown. So.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I
So
like it. Who you got
here's the
Cup?
thing. You go Zilich, I'll go SVG.
Okay. Let's do it.
Now
I
let's
got
put
Con.
$500 on the line.
I'll give you a sim rig.
Yeah, let's put a Simmerg on the line.
Yeah, I
I
got
can
an
give
extra
you
one.
this paperweight grenade.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Does it actually work?
Let's
Do you need to
see.
put
Ching.
an animation scene on this? It's like boom.
Yeah, but it'd just be really bad. Uh, I'll probably have to blur that out. The YouTube algorithm will come get me.
Oh God, that's true. You really honestly should.
Now look at this gun I have here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go Zillage for Xfinity. I'll go. Or no, you said SVG. I don't
No,
know.
I got Zilich. You got SVG.
I got SVG. All right, and then you also have Reddick for the Cup race. For the Cup race, I was actually going to say Reddick as well.
You're
Because the only other people that really figured it out, I think Larson again, he was kind of
Christopher Bell, Byron,
yeah,
even what's his name? Kyle Busch was fast at Coda.
he was fast at Coda, but that's I street races are different for me. I might go Bell on this one. I think I'm gonna go Bell. He's yeah, like him and Reddick.
He's had some bad luck lately. Hasn't
Yeah,
been getting
he
the
just
finishes he
hasn't
normally
been
gives.
there. The Toyotas were just bad at Atlanta, but yeah,
He won it
overall.
last time in February. They won Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's another thing I wanted to say. Like, if we look back at all the Atlanta races recently, like the past like 4 or 5 have just been fantastic. They've all
Yeah,
been above
they're great.
like 85% on a scale. So, um, yeah, yeah. So that takes care of the predictions. I don't think I have anything else for this week. So, look forward to Pop and Top coming out later this week as well. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Who do we have on again this week?
So we got Jarius Moorhead. He will be on Pop and Top with us. We're gonna record that here in just a little bit, around 8:30 tonight. We'll get on with him. We're gonna
Wait,
talk about the 24 Hours of Le Mans
yeah.
from 2 years ago, 2023. He was on the Garage 56 Camaro.
Hmm.
So we're gonna talk to him, see what that experience was like. We are also gonna ask him about winning in Atlanta on the 48 with Nick Sanchez, and he's also on Carson Hocevar's Cup car and all the controversy that surrounds the 77 car
Hmm.
from here and there with the 47. So it's gonna be a good night, good episode. Please tune into that, give it a like, and
Yeah.
give us some feedback.
If you do listen to Pop and Top this week, I very much recommend watching American Thunder. That's the name of it, right?
American Thunder, yep,
Yeah,
it's
the
on Prime.
documentary in Prime. Yeah, it's very,
It's
very
gonna have
good.
Jarius is actually involved in it. You get to see him and stuff. So if
Yeah,
anybody wants to watch American Thunder and then circle back around in a couple of days, Pop and Top will be out, and you'll see Jarius
yeah.
and his team go to work over there in France.
It's nice that we compare this with something else, like a nice wine with a steak. Have you ever been to a restaurant like that where they're like, "Hey, try this Merlot with, steak. It goes well with it." I've never had the experience of like, "Oh, they were so right."
Yeah, I haven't had wine and steak together. No.
Well, no, we went to a steak or a steakhouse once, and they were like, "Oh, you should try this Pinot Noir, or whatever." They were like, "It goes well with red meat," and I was like, "Okay." And I've had enough wine to know I don't care. I do know that it's like white wine is a bit more sweeter, so it's whatever. But like when I had it, I was like, "Okay,
This isn't anything special.
no, I'll take a Dr. Pepper now, please."
Yeah. Well, great
All right.
episode. Thank
Yeah.
you, Owen. Thank you for putting it on, and looking forward to having episode 13 out on
Yeah.
Wednesday.
We'll be back after Chicago.
Heck yeah.
Chicago.
See you, man.
See you.
5,